Hello, football fans. How are we doing? This is Mr. Chiggs here with a public service announcement. I am thrilled to announce that we are back on radio. Starting this Saturday and every Saturday thereafter. Please join us from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. for an electrifying new segment called the 3 p.m. whistle, where we'll be looking at live matches happening at 3 p.m. And we'll be looking at the goals, the reactions, everything happening within that time. And we'll be diving into the heart of the action, bringing you the coverage, expert analysis, and all the thrills from the 3 p.m. kickoff. Whether you're a die-hard supporter or a casual fan, we've got something for everyone. So expect surprise guest appearances from my ground football pundits, in-depth match breakdowns, and maybe even a few unexpected twists along the way. So mark your calendar, guys, and set your reminders. Saturday from 2 p.m. Tune in to Grand Football and only on COG Grand Radio. It's on DAB. And be part of the excitement. Until then, keep your boots polished and your spirits high. The countdown for the 3 p.m. whistle has begun. Guys, welcome to another episode of Grand Football Weekly. The Premier League is back and we are back as well. Apologies if you've missed us. We had to take a break as well. Let's just put it that way. We had to take a break. So we are back for the new season, the 2025-2026 season. What are your expectations for this season? There's a lot that's happened over the summer. A lot of players have moved in. A lot of players have moved out. And some are still fighting for a move, if you know what I mean. So this is where we just look at the predictions for game 1. So we're going to go straight into the predictions for game week 1. Well, these are my predictions. So let us know in the comment section what your prediction is. And if you agree with any of the predictions I've made for each team that we are going to look at. So we start off with the champions, Liverpool. Liverpool versus Bournemouth. Liverpool will be playing Bournemouth. Liverpool, they've already had like a game already where they played the Community Shield on Sunday and they lost on penalties to Crystal Palace. I'm sure that will be hurting. So they come into the new season to play Bournemouth on their first game, and they've got some new signings to look forward to, which the new signings already did well in the game against Crystal Palace. Both new signings scored. Ekitike and Frimpong scored for them. And Vert had a good game as well. So did Kerkers. So we've seen their new signings on display in the Community Shield, and they all played well, you could say. So what's going to happen with Bournemouth? Bournemouth look like this season they are the selling team. They've sold 3 or 4 defenders already. They've sold Hodgson. They've sold Zabani, who's just recently moved to PSG. They've sold Kerkes. So that's 3 major defenders out of the team. So you start to wonder, can they survive it? Will they be able to handle the team going forward, or do they have replacements already? Because it doesn't look like they've bought that many in. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this game. But for the predictions, I feel Liverpool will be too strong for Bournemouth, considering Bournemouth hasn't really, bought enough players to replace the ones that have actually left. So they might struggle. Maybe they have some players lined up before the end of the transfer window. But for now, I don't see them winning the first couple of games. It's like what happened in their preseason. I've seen them very lackluster in the preseason games, losing the games that I saw. I think they lost to Man United. Yeah, I think they lost to Man United in preseason. So this is going to be a difficult one, and I'm going to go for Liverpool to win 3-0. Liverpool to win 3-0. Aston Villa versus Newcastle. This is going to be another interesting game because Aston Villa haven't really bought that many players in, but they've kept most of the players, although don't forget there were a few players who came in last season on loan. They've gone back to their parent clubs, the likes of Asensio and Rashford. So this is going to maybe have an effect on them. Remember the last half of the season, they played really well with these new signings on loan. But how do they play in this new season? Only time will tell. But are they going to lose Ollie Watkins, or is he going to stay? You know, that's the big question. And have they got like a proper replacement for him if he is going? Newcastle, on the other hand, they're fighting their own battles. Isak is looking like he's not going to be a Newcastle player this season, with all the speculations of him throwing his spitting out his dummy. That's so they say, so I wonder what's going to happen. Newcastle going to stamp their ground and say, you are our player, you've got 3 years and we're not selling you? Or instead of keeping an unhappy player within the team, they're going to let him go? Well, time will tell. We still have a couple of weeks in the transfer window, so we'll see how that one pans out. But for this game, I feel the last time these two played, I remember, I think, was it not Aston Villa who lost woefully, or was it Newcastle who lost woefully at the start? I think it was Villa. But this one, I see Villa winning by a slim margin, but winning all the same. So I'm going to go for Aston Villa to win 3-2 against Newcastle. Brighton versus Fulham. This one's another interesting game based on the transfer window. A lot of players have been linked with the main man at Brighton, Baleba, Man United especially. So is he going to stay, or is he going to go to Manchester United? And how is that going to affect especially the midfield of Brighton going into the new season? Fulham as well are looking to bring in some new players into the team, but I don't think they've been successful yet. So we'll see how that one goes. For now, for this game, I feel that it will end in a draw. I am going to go for a 2-2 draw in this game. Sunderland, newly promoted Sunderland versus West Ham. Sunderland are going big in the markets, trying to make sure they secure some decent players going into the new season, and trying to make sure they try and cement their stay in the Premier League, which they might be successful, but sometimes when you buy too many players all at once, it takes them time to start playing as a team. So that might be the downside. And West Ham, they haven't really brought that many people in. I know they've lost Kudus as well, and they brought in Callum Wilson in the attack. So looking at that, this game might be very, very tight. But I'm going to give it to the newly promoted team, Sunderland. They'll be buzzing. Everyone in that Stadium of Light will be buzzing on the day. So I am going to give it to Sunderland to beat West Ham by a slim margin, 2-1. Sunderland to win 2-1. Tottenham versus Burnley. Tottenham actually, at the time of this recording, should be playing the UEFA Super Cup today. But depends on what happens in that game, because Spurs, and we are not sure with the new manager, Thomas Frank, if he can get this team playing really well. I liked what I saw in the preseason against Arsenal, but they went on to lose the next one woefully, and that's Spursy. So you never know with Spurs. Are they going to turn up for the game against PSG, or are they going to turn up for this game against Burnley? Because if they beat PSG, you can guarantee that I won't be shocked if they come to the game against Burnley and they lose or draw, something like that. But for the benefit of doubt, I'm going to give this one to Tottenham. They should have enough to beat the newly promoted team in Burnley. So I am going to go for Tottenham to win 2-0. Wolverhampton versus Manchester City. Wolverhampton, they've lost two key players, in my opinion, in Cunha and Ait Nouri. So, and I haven't seen a major replacement, although they sealed Strand Larsen as a permanent from the loan move which he had last season. Is that going to be enough? I'm not sure. Man City, on the other hand, they'll be hurting from last season, and I'm sure they will want to make a good start, and I'm backing them to make that good start. So that's what's reflecting in my prediction for Man City against Wolves, and I'm going for Wolves to lose to Man City 5-1. Man City to win 5-1. Don't ask me why, but I feel they're going to score a lot of goals. Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. Chelsea. They don't fail to remind us that they are the world champions, and we're going to be hearing this for another 4 years. Whew. But they're coming up against Crystal Palace, a very good Crystal Palace team. I know Crystal Palace might end up losing one or two of their main players in Eze or Gehi, but they're still a good side. And Chelsea have added some decent people into the team in Gittins, Esteval, João Pedro, who's looking really good, Delap, who's looking good as well. So it'll be interesting to see who actually starts up front for Chelsea when the season starts, who will be their main striker. So that's why I'm thinking they will be too strong, just a bit too strong for Crystal Palace. And I'm going to go for Chelsea to beat Crystal Palace 2-1. Chelsea to beat Crystal Palace 2-1. Nottingham Forest versus Brentford. This is going to be an interesting game because both teams, I haven't seen much movement in the market. In fact, they're losing players. I know Nottingham Forest have lost Elanga, and Brentford have lost Mbumo, and they might even lose Wissa, which might be a big blow. They've lost Norgard already to Arsenal. So there's quite a few players, and they've got a new manager. So it might be tricky for Brentford. But I would say they'll have just enough to keep themselves afloat in this game, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this game. And the big one, Manchester United versus Arsenal. These two teams have, bought quite a few players. They've got new ammunition in the bag and are hoping to even get more. Man United are still looking to get Baleba. Arsenal are looking to still get a left winger or a midfield player in Eze. So those two, based on their signings, it'll be difficult to say who is going to win this game, because when they always meet each other, it doesn't matter what form they're in before they meet. That form always goes out the window, So this game is another tricky game, and it's now the first game of the season. So that's why I'm thinking both teams might not be fully ready for this fight, but one might just nick it. And obviously, I'm going to back my team. I'm going to back Arsenal to win. And I'm saying Arsenal will win this game 3-1. 3-1. Leeds United, another newly promoted team, versus Everton, the last game for game week 1, which will be played on a Monday. Leeds, they've bought quite a few players, so have Everton. Everton have just acquired the services of Jack Grealish, and they also bought Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, remember. So they're looking like they're doing some good business, Everton. But will it be enough for this first game? Because I know those guys, in as much as they're good, they haven't actually played together to start getting the feel of how to move for each other. So I am going to say Leeds, another newly promoted team, might just nick this one. And I'm going to go for Leeds to beat Everton 2-1. 2-1. So what are your predictions, guys? If you have your own thoughts on the games or you don't agree with the ones I've predicted, leave yours in the comment section and we will get back to you. Yep, thank you guys for joining in, and we shall see you again in the next video. Bye for now.
Don't check this.